Jimmy and Nate. Welcome to the shit show. I feel like if there was ever guests who should be on the shit show, it's you guys.
Because all we are two pieces of shit.
No, but your lives are shit shows.
Yep, steaming piles of shit.
I would say I'm more of the shit show than Nath.
I don't. You seem like you got all your shit together.
No, I'm the toilet paper. He's the shit.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not.
But it's because why? Because you guys are in different sort of areas in your life. You just got married, Nate,
Yeah.
and Jimmy.
Thanks for bringing it up.
You're sending, we talked about this penis pictures to girls.
So we need to clarify this.
Wait,
he is not still.
No.
He's
I'm
in
not
a.
stealing.
He's in a happy relationship.
He was in a happy relationship, but like recently, before
yeah,
that.
I'm 6 months in a relationship, but
So
before
month
that,
7, like 7 months ago, you were sending
yeah,
penis
definitely there
pictures.
were penises being sent out.
How does that go down? How does that really
How do I send it?
No, it goes up. It's
Yeah,
you don't
well-
want to send it when it's down.
Oh
That's
my god,
boring.
really?
Oh, you don't want to see a flaccid
Listen, I
penis.
have not had many penis pictures. I've actually had none.
But you've been married for 18 years.
That's true, but I've
Sean never sends you a. Hey
But-
babe, we bought a house. Look at this.
Celebrate!
Hey babe, you want to come home celebration?
Look at this. Woo.
Probably not, because I've always been like a sexual person, so I'd be like, I'm coming home, and he'd be like, oh god, no. He'd be like, go, stay away,
I'm out.
stay away. So how does it go down? Does someone ask for it?
Well,
Jimmy?
usually you're sexting someone. So
Sexting.
Yeah, you know what that is?
I-
how much do I have
She's
to
been in a
explain?
like shit. I tell you what, this is
No,
nice to
my
me
God.
because
When you were
normally,
single, you'd write letters.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd mail them.
send a smoke signal.
I know.
You're
An email.
hot.
An email. I can't wait to come
Do the
over.
writing on the. Oh my god, I'm crying. I would do the writing in the air. They
Yeah,
would say
just
like,
draw a pair of tits in the air.
Skywriting.
And Sean be like,
And
are they Taman's are they nipples
and then
in smoke?
no, I'd do a penis picture in the air, but it would be the wrong way, and you'd be like, it's supposed to go up.
It's down and sad.
So
a
scary.
flaccid skywriting
Oh my
penis.
Anyway, that's what I used to do 23 years
Years
ago.
ago, yeah.
But you don't do that. You do a better version of that.
No, I think it starts like you.
Technology's
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah, you're texting back and forth with someone, and then you're sexting. You're like, yeah, I can't wait to see you, rah rah, and
Rah
usually-
rah rah.
it's an exchange of, yada yada
It's
yada.
scary.
Cock.
Rah.
I know we're never gonna get through this. Rah rah rah, that's the part that it turns from texting to sexting. The rah rah rah, right?
Yeah, like last time I was single, I actually was amazed at the amount of voice memos that people sent,
Interesting.
like playing with themselves.
What?
Yeah,
What,
so
just strictly audio?
just audio.
Yeah, you're married now. That's not gonna happen
Wow.
for you
See,
for a little minute.
normally because I've been in a relationship for 10 years. And
Yeah.
you're 18, so I don't
know.
feel as bad now.
I mean, you were probably letters. I was the skywriting,
yeah.
but you were probably the hey
Yeah.
babe, you're cute.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan, it's not. We don't really talk about that because it's not like the show. It's not our brand, so it wouldn't be anything that we speak about. So when I'm single, Nate doesn't know about it. I'll
Yeah.
go do my thing, and then I come back and do the show.
Well, I don't go to him, hey, bro, show me that dick pic you sent.
Yeah, but you've seen one. You said that you shared them before.
I've never seen because I think like Nate's been with his partner Meg so long, like
Yeah,
10
that's
years.
true.
That like
if you got one, it would have been weird.
Well, no, I'd never want to bring in that single energy to that relationship because Nathan and I have to protect our relationship, which means
That's
protecting
true.
their relationship.
That's true.
And I've found in other times it's very awkward if you're the single friend amongst other couple friends because you're like your guy friends like yeah like. And then
That's
they don't want to seem
true.
like they're interested, so I'm just like tell Nathan nothing.
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Because I do think if my husband was out with single friends and they were talking about the girls that they were sleeping with, I'd probably be slightly offended. But I mean, I do have my own issues, but I'd probably be a little jealous about that.
No, absolutely. Makes
Does your
sense.
wife get jealous?
No, she
No,
doesn't get,
really. She's like a cool chick.
No, she doesn't get jealous about it. She's just
Oh,
more like, I mean, what you talk about is what you talk about.
Interesting.
I don't need to.
Do you know what I
about
once
that.
did? My husband was, he had some very famous actresses that he was, oh my gosh, I sound like a psychopath. He was interviewing them for a movie role, and I would get in my car with my glasses on, and I'd like go across the road and just like watch, because I was so worried that they're so cute and they're so young. And what if they were like, "Hey, Mr. Director," and hold his hand for too long, and then
So
I'd
you would
snap it
sit in your car
for a little minute, for like
and
not
watch,
too long,
like
not
tinted
too
windows
long.
with a big newspaper.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'd like put on, if he did anything, I'd, do some skywriting and be like, I see you right now.
We know that you're an actress and he was a director.
Yeah.
Do you think that's in your head because that's how you met and you're thinking
Oh,
potentially
yeah.
he could do that again?
Well, we weren't in relationships.
No, but I mean,
Yes.
he may
yes.
see someone and go, "Ah, it's the new Tammin."
Excuse me. It's the.
Well, wasn't he
Oh,
just?
great! Our producer's laughing now. He's like, "Yeah, it's the
Thanks,
new and
Dylan.
improved."
Let's go to Dylan.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Doubling down on the insecurity. It's
Yeah,
like,
so-
oh, so
What,
that's
with the-
how
Well, that's
you
where it
met-
comes from.
Yeah.
I have so
Therapy.
many.
This is
Yeah, I
therapy.
go to therapy. Believe
I
me.
go to therapy too.
I
That's
know.
where I've got this from.
I know, and of course, I'm
This is my therapy.
I-
Just-
I'm better, but I'm definitely an insecure person.
yeah.
And I think a lot has to do with like growing up in the business, right? And being like, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too old, you're too young, you're not talented enough, you're this, you're blah, your hair, like hair is not great. It's my life was constantly about what I was doing that wasn't great.
This industry breeds insecurity
Yeah.
in so many different ways, and it's not just physical appearance. We get told we're not funny. Obviously, they're not telling the truth.
Obviously.
Like, obviously, that's in
Yeah.
Incorrect.
that's incorrect.
I-
But
yeah.
it's still like a little bit. If someone says, "Oh, that wasn't funny," we go, "Oh."
And it kind of stings no matter. Look, the keyboard warriors, I definitely have come to terms with. I feel like, unhappiness is the fastest pipeline to hate. And when people are unhappy, they love to attack because the dopamine levels in your brain raise a little bit. So you're like, oh, if that person isn't as good, then I'm better. But ultimately, it's just someone who's really miserable who's trying to attack you because they don't have the life that you guys have. And they can't send the dick pics, so readily available. Like, you know what I mean?
I-
have
I-
so
Well, not
many
as good
people
as these ones, you
and
know
have
what I
so
mean?
many
I've got a
people
great
accept
penis,
them like
so-
you do.
I like that. I always comment back to people who be like, "This is not funny," and I'll be like, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
Well, it's like someone's like, "You need to go to school to learn how to be funny." I was like, "You need to go to school of fucking right off."
Yeah.
So-
Like, I love when people tell me that I'm not funny or they don't like me. Like I look for that. Like I'll
Interesting.
go through comments and look for that. Like Nate's like, "Oh, may feel a bit uncomfortable." Like I want to know. Like I want to know when our bosses don't like it because that's what fuels me. When people are saying things are great, I mentally I'll check out.
Is it
I'm
because
like,
you
no.
want to make it better or because you just like the fight?
No, I like the fight. I think it comes from like anything.
You're like, I don't want to be better.
No, like I know,
that.
I've always known how great I am, but I like being the underdog, and I guess I've
Yeah.
always been the underdog. So, and then
Right.
it's harder as you get up. Like when Nathan and I first started to win awards for the radio show and that, like Nathan will know this. I wanted no part of it. I didn't want to be part of receiving it. I didn't want to be part of it. I didn't want anything to do with it. And even now through therapy it helps, but winning makes me feel very uncomfortable. I'd rather
Interesting.
be like lower and be like, we're in for a fight.
Our show's always been an underdog show, though. You see a lot of particular. I mean, you're talking specifically radio. A lot of radio shows, particularly at the moment, and with the new wave of media coming through, they've often been plucked from reality TV or
Yeah.
acting or ex-sports stars or any of that kind of thing, and they've kind of been put together. We are a show who didn't have any of that. We literally
Right.
we were radio from the ground up. We built this and we forced it. And so many people said, to get a radio show or to start to be successful in the media landscape, you've got to be on reality TV.
Right.
Like we had people being like, maybe you should try and get when Jimmy was single,
SES.
try and get on The Bachelor, try and get
Yeah.
on any of this
well,
kind of stuff.
with all those
you know?
pics being said, I'm sure you could have, He's
I
like,
won't say
SOS.
I missed out on a season of The Bachelorette. I actually
Yeah.
did. I was like, all right, fuck it. All our bosses were like, you got to get, because we had to be social media famous. And the thing was, Nathan and I didn't have a social following. We got like 500,000 followers now on
That's
Instagram.
cool. That's huge for Australia.
Yeah.
Look, that's now. But back then, like, we had nothing. And so they were like, you need to get social media famous. So I was like, fuck it, I'll apply. So I applied. But then during the process of it, and it was during COVID, you weren't in a room with people. And I really checked out because there were all these people on this Zoom call who were just fucking douchebags.
Right.
Like, so it's like the woman, everyone's trying to get to the girl. And I was just like, I couldn't fucking be in a house with these people. Like, I would go crazy. And that girl, I won't name names, I ended up sexting anyway. And
Yeah, exactly.
Nathan actually knows that
no.
one. Nathan-
To
It
be
was in
fair,
the rah 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 part. that is,
I do know a lot of
So
the
I
sexting
didn't
things.
even need to go on the show.
Yeah,
I ended up
exactly.
getting him
That's
anyway,
a funny
so-
sexting story.
That's
You seem to be a stud. I mean, you're both
Um,
studs, but like you're
Hey,
married.
I am
you're
married.
married.
I am married.
You got
How
me.
dare
Oh
you?
my
It's
goodness,
con-
you're
it's
both
confidence.
studs.
It's confidence. I lost my virginity when I was 18.
Same.
I know you said that,
Same.
and it was a bit later.
Did
I
you
lost,
really?
Yeah,
Well,
my
18th
18th birthday party on a
Same.
boat. Were you on a boat too?
I was on the
Did I lose it with you?
I think you're different ages.
I'm like, wait, it was this. Oh my god, it was this. Was that you? I can't
Yeah.
remember. I was
It was on a-
blind
It was on a
drunk.
boat. Yeah. During the speeches of my 18th
But-
birthday
It was on
party.
my stairs. Yeah.
I lost virginity with 2 girls in a threesome.
Wow. So you lost Just double.
But I went from nothing. So like when I was at school, I really wanted to like do something. So like I was in a band, played a lot of sports. I didn't drink. Like I grew up in Gundawindi, which is like a small sort of country town on the border of Queensland, New South Wales. And I was like, I don't want to do alcohol because I think I remember seeing like as a 14-year-old that you'd play like cricket against fully formed adults, and on a Saturday morning they'd be really hungover. So in my head I'm like, that's my competitive advantage. If I don't drink, I've got an edge because I'm already like small and like this skinny little kid. So I didn't drink until schoolies. Met 2 girls on the beach who were drinking, and hooking up with each other, and I just said, "Can I have a piece of that?" And I'd never done anything.
Was literally? Did you say, "Can I have a
have
piece?
a piece of that?" Yeah. Can I get?
Wow.
Can I get in on this?
Can I get in on this?
They were eating
totally
cake.
now.
Wow, they were just like.
But I did nothing.
Sure.
I'd kissed one girl. Like I'd never fingered anyone. I never got a blowjob.
Oh my
never
God,
got a
I
hand
haven't
job.
heard that.
So I went from
So
like
long.
0 to 100. Like, and
Fingering.
they were like, "This is how you go down, girl. This is where the clit is. Like, you want to arch your fingers around to find a G spot. This is like."
I'm getting a little
it
flustered.
was a whole.
I got none of that in
Yeah,
the 30 seconds on the boat. I literally got people knocking on the door going, Nath, your grandma's making the 18th
Yeah,
speech.
exactly.
Get out of there.
And you're like, oh God,
And
okay.
they were looking through, and she was up on the, and it was. I didn't know what it was going on. It was horrible. I was drunk.
Oh
I
my
had
God.
like 3 vodka cruises.
Oh my God.
And poor old Maddie, I won't say her surname.
I didn't mention anyone by name. You just throwing them
You're
out
just
there.
throwing it out.
And it was not good.
Yours wasn't good. So then Jimmy, was yours good?
Yeah,
The
it was.
threesome?
It was really. The first time I had sex with both of them, and I'd had a bit to drink, and I never drank. But I wasn't like super drunk, but I couldn't come because obviously maybe like nerves and like all this
Right.
stuff. And then I remember like heaps of fun. Then the next morning they got into the shower together, and they invited me in. And
Yeah.
and now I think I'm like some sort of stud. So I walk into the
Oh my
shower,
God.
and they started like playing with me, and I came like that,
Oh.
like 3.
Well-
The water hadn't even got hot yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I get
Like,
back,
who are
lay
these
down.
people?
So,
So, going a little bit back to what you were saying that you didn't want to win awards because you felt like, I mean, are you like that too, Nath? You don't
No,
want to
I love winning.
Exactly. I love it.
winning.
That makes me
Yeah,
feel
I
better
need
about
to-
myself.
I need to
Like,
win.
if I don't win
Yeah.
awards, like, I hate myself.
No, I need gratification.
Same.
I work so I can win.
Same.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But then, by the opposite, you don't like to win.
No.
So,
well, I'd prove people wrong.
but then you also suffer from anxiety and depression, which means maybe that's all linked to something in your child. Do you remember the first time that you felt anxious or depressed, or that you maybe didn't feel like you were worth winning anything? Is that
I mean, yeah. When you look back at it now through the lens of like, I know what depression and anxiety is. Yeah, I've had it my entire life, and I think exercise and sport was a way of dealing with that. Getting endorphins up. Like I was always doing something, and my dad was always big on like putting me outside and doing something. But I think everything comes from like our something. I mean, that's what therapy
Yeah.
does. You unlock stuff, and I have memories of dad as a kid. And he worked incredibly hard, like worked so hard. And so like we would play cricket and like we would win, right? And it'd be like under 10s or under 12s and we'd win. And I remember other kids going to Macca's to be like, we're going to have McDonald's and celebrate. And my dad would take me back to the nets and we'd keep practicing. So I don't have any like, and if I did well at school, like it wasn't rewarded. Like my dad was like, just keep studying. Like what is it? Like reward isn't anything. So I think having that continuously throughout my childhood is now, that's what it's given me a great work ethic. It's fucked me up in a lot of ways. But that's where that not being comfortable with winning, because I never sat with it before. I never sat with that emotion and gone, this is what winning feels like. I never did.
Do you think that's what anxiety and depression stems from, is feeling like because in your childhood you didn't get that validation, that maybe you feel like the depression comes from maybe you're not good enough?
Yeah, I think I mean, there's definitely, I think, a chemical imbalance within my own brain. And that's, I think, what I have clinical depression other than, situational depression. So I think there is something, I know there is something wrong within my brain. But yeah, a lot of it has come from my childhood and who I am and being brought up and my family circumstances and all of that. Like nothing ever came really easy. It was a lot of hard work to get to where I am now. So yeah, it's definitely, a lot of my depression anxiety has, come from stuff when I was younger.
Does that ever affect the show with the two of you? Or does
definitely.
Nath know, like, you know when he's in a place where...
Yeah, I mean, we've been best mates for, we say 10 years, but it's over 10 years now, really. And we've been working, I've been on Jimmy's mental health journey with him for as long as he has.
Right.
Because, before we kind of got into this industry where the spotlight is on you, it kind of, I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth, but, gave you the opportunity to start looking at, okay, what's going on. It got to the point where, you know, at the start, he just thought he was tired. So we would because we lived with each other for about 6 years when we started doing the radio show, and there'd be moments where he's like, you know, I think I just need to, you know, get into the show a little bit later, not spend as much time in the office. I've got to jerk off more, you know. And I was like, and
I love that that's like number 3.
but it was
Doesn't that make you guys more tired?
No,
I'm sorry.
The first 2, I think I said to Nath were, I was like, I need to jerk off more and play more golf.
Yeah.
and
because like we've learned
seems like
together
a good-
on all this mental health stuff, you know, like everything he's learned, I've learned as well, because, you know, I've watched and I've learned how to be that person who's there for support.
Yeah.
I've learned to give him what he needs. I've learned to pull back when he doesn't need something. And, you know, I'm constantly learning in this mental health journey, you know, because of Jim, and tried to be the best version I can when I'm there to support him, you know, and it got to the point where, you know, after 4 or 5 years of maybe I need to jerk off more, maybe we need to eat more pizza, maybe we need to watch more Netflix together, which we did. We did all these different
You're like,
things.
he's great.
Like,
We
we
didn't jerk off
do-
together. We didn't jerk off together.
didn't?
No.
You didn't
that
jerk
didn't
off
happen.
together.
We tried
Okay.
it. We tried it once.
Did you try it once?
No, we didn't.
Different rooms, but back to back on the wall.
Did you really? Oh, my Lord.
And then,
Oh, my Lord.
and it got to the point where it was probably like 4 or 5 years in, where we were like, okay, probably not even that, but probably like 2-3 years in, where it got to the point where, you know, we'd be having, you know, 5-6 hour conversations just standing in the kitchen, where I'd just be listening. And it got to the point where I was like, man, like I can't help you. I'm not trained. I don't know what I'm doing. So I was like, I can only tell you to do what you think is going to help, but all I know is maybe you should go and see somebody.
Yeah.
And I pushed him into doing that, because I got to the point where I was like, nothing I'm saying to you is helping.
And it's so misunderstood. I think anxiety, I have anxiety. I don't have depression. I guess sometimes I'm depressed because I'm anxious. But it presents itself to other people. It looks very different. Sometimes I look like I'm sort of being bitchy or shut down or flighty or whatever it is. But it's just the way that I'm trying to cope. It's just my coping mechanism, and it looks different to people, and so it can be so misunderstood that, like, oh, she's just being moody, or she's just being bitchy, or she's just late all the time, which I'm not. But if I was, it'd probably because I'm really struggling. But you can't sometimes always tell that to people, because they don't really understand it.
No,
Exactly.
and I've said that to people I work with so many times, because Nathan and I are so different in that, you know, when I am struggling, like I can't be around people, and I'm quick to anger, and that's that, you know, I have that fight mentality, back to the wall. So when I am not feeling great, like I will snap and I'll be angry at people. And I've said so many times, like it's depression, anxiety, and I try to remove myself from meetings, come in a bit later, because I'm like, I can't be around it. And whereas Nath is like, I've never met anyone, him is like, he's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We talked about the other day, his number one screen time thing on his phone is his emails, his work emails. Like he does not stop. So if you imagine, like, we walk into a room and you've got this guy who's like loud, fun, happy, smiley, and Jimmy Nath is always shown as this 2 people, like it sort of becomes one. And
In
if
sync
I'm
brand, yeah.
looking down, hats down, not talking to people and disengaging, even if I say to them, I'm like, I'm struggling, like I have to remind people, because they're like, oh, Jimmy's just a cunt.
Right.
Like, and it still happens. It's still like, to people that I'm incredibly close with, they're still like, Jimmy's a cunt. And I'm like, no, I'm just really struggling. But it is exacerbated by being next to someone who is so life of the party,
It's your fault,
energetic.
Nathan. No,
Well,
but
it's-
but if you guys didn't have each other, like, it's almost like this perfect match.
We always speak about it's yin and yang.
Like you need each other.
We balance each other out perfectly
to
in so
make
many
the show
situations.
so successful. And if you didn't have that, I mean, it's so boring to have 2 perfectly happy people all the time.
well, if we
it's
were
great to have one.
If we were we spoke
Exactly.
about, but not even just in a show and presentation, you know, entertainment sense, but also in a professional sense. Like, there are so many benefits that, you know, that Jim provides and that I also provide, that if it was too much one way, the thing would topple over. Like, it's so perfect, even with something, you know, as boring as like contract negotiation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Both of us offer so many different, you know, attributes to getting to what we want within a simple contract. Whereas if it was just me, it would be shit house. If it was just him, it'd be shit house.
Yeah.
So we balance each other out perfectly, and we've had those, and we still continue to have those honest conversations with each other. And it's why, you know, our show, we know, is going to be so successful.
Yeah.
And
It
it's why
is.
it has been successful, is because not many people have the conversations we have
exactly.
because we are in each other's pockets all the time, and because we are so close and actual best mates, we can have those conversations like we've intertwined the personal and the professional, because that's what we are. We've commercialized a best friendship, which is so hard to explain to people. It's so hard to, and like our partners, our family, our colleagues, our producing team, they'll never quite understand that, because they're not, unless you're in it and you've cultivated that for as long as we have. It's so difficult to understand and explain to people.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when I met Nath, like, he was just and that's again, I'm a bit more prickly, and Nath's a bit more nice. That yin yang off air, like not the show, like behind the scenes. Like when I met Nath, he was working at Nova, and was doing everything.
Yeah.
Like I met this guy.
Like shooting the show.
But no, like he was
doing
like,
the
but behind
lighting.
the scenes, like he was like helping out on every single show. He was like
I produced
traveling
every show.
overseas. He was doing everything for everyone, and I met him, and I instantly knew. I was like, Nate's talented, right? I thought he was funny, he was intelligent. I was like, and we hadn't even thought about ever doing a show together. I was just hanging out with him, and I was like, you're so good. I was like, why aren't you on air? Why aren't you in like behind a mic? And Nate was like, no, like I've if I work really hard, like one day they're gonna grab me and be like, and I'm like, no, they're fucking not. They will, like, in this industry, I was like, they will crush you. They will take every bit of juice out of you. And Nate's like, no. And I think that's like a big thing of like
Young naivety.
Yeah.
I was
They'll
like,
find me in the little corner, and then the light will shine down from God.
And they'll go, he's
And they'll
the
go,
one.
He's the one. I'm found.
best-
They found me.
well, fine. Like, okay, this is my favorite Nate story, and I think it really shows who he really is. It's the Disney story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is
This is Nate. They're gonna find me.
They're gonna find me.
I can see our producer out there laughing at this. He's
Yeah.
shaking his head. This is something that I very much learned a lot from, and something I'm very
I don't know if you learned
embarrassed by.
anything from it, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did, because nothing's changed. I'm still the same naive piece of shit. So it was when we were at Nova, and I was driving. I was a street team at the time, so handing out like the Coca-Colas on the street in the promo, like a promo girl.
What were you wearing?
Essentially, like the red Nova crop
yeah,
tops.
the crop top. Because my stomach was out.
And
yeah.
and I remember hearing this ad that was playing on the radio station. It was like, stars of the future, this is a call out for you, because there is a huge, big time Disney LA producer coming to Australia, and he wants you to be the next Disney star. And then it was like, you could be on Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
You could be
School
on
Musical?
High School Musical, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Yeah.
Like all these kind of things. I was like, oh, I watched them as a kid. And I was like, okay, all right, this is interesting. So I called my drama teacher, who I'd been out of school for 3 years.
Yeah.
But I was still close with her. And I called her and I was like, hey, what do you reckon about this? And she goes, oh, look, I'd never heard of it, but what? She was a bit, skeptical about it. She's like, go and give it a go. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I applied online and was like, okay, I want to see this big time Disney producer. I put on my best shirt, got a new haircut,
my
like
face.
long sleeve shirt, and then I had to drive to a place called Parramatta in Sydney, which is
You're like 20.
yeah. I was
Yeah,
like
21,
20. I was 20. So the cutoff. So I was 20, and the age was 7 to 20. Right?
7 to 20,
7
and you're
to 20.
like,
I was like,
it's my
I've just fit in,
chance.
baby. My
Yeah.
birthday's not for another few months.
Yeah.
Here we go. Anyway, so I had to drive 45, probably longer, an hour traffic out to Parramatta. It was like in this old, RSL, and it was like this big like conference room space.
Yeah.
And as soon as I walked in, there were all these, for lack of a better term, dance mums with their kids, right? And I was the oldest by probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't rock out with my mum. So I'm like, okay. And so everyone had to sit down. And I was like, okay, where are the older kids? I don't know. Anyway, so everyone's sitting down. You fill out a form. There's probably about 200 kids. And then the lights go out. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then it was like single spotlight. And it was like Disney stars of tomorrow. And it's like dry ice coming up to the thing.
Yeah.
It was like lasers. And then this guy,
dun, dun.
yeah. And then this guy steps out. And he's like, please welcome Dan Stevenson. And everyone's like, ah. I'm like, this must be the guy. I'm like, there's like a 7-year-old girl next to me. I'm like, this,
Yeah.
he could be you and me in LA.
Yeah.
And then he comes out anyway. It does this big presentation. He's like, you could be Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
You could be Ariana Grande, the Jonas Brothers. And I was like, wow, okay. Anyway, so
Did
then
you have
you
those hand movements?
yeah, yeah, same thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
Disney.
Yeah.
And then you had to go up and they had like a panel of all these Disney producers, don't even know if they were Disney producers, and you had to say a certain line to these people, right? So you get given your line about 5 minutes before, and I think mine was something about, I've got to go to the dentist because I need new incisors or something like that. It was something to do with the dentist.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got up and I had the main guy. So they call your number, 302, get up there. I delivered the line, and then this guy that was on all the ads, he stood up and just slow clapped me.
No way.
Yeah, and he goes,
Did this to everyone, by the way.
"You." I didn't know he did this to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
320.
Yeah.
302 slow
Yeah,
claps.
exactly.
And then he
For
goes,
sure.
"You are the one." And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be Selena Gomez. I'm going
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
on Wizards of Waverly Place. This is your new Disney star, Nickelodeon. I don't know. He gives me this bit of paper and he goes, okay, you've got to come back for a second audition in a couple of weeks, but we're going to take you to LA. I didn't even look at the bit of paper he gave me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Anyway, as I'm driving home, I call my drum teacher. I'm like, I did it. I'm going to LA.
going to LA.
And she goes, have you read the brochure? I was like, no. And she goes, open the brochure. So I pulled her. I was like, okay, open the brochure. So what does it say? He goes, well, for $60,000 you have the chance to come over to LA
No.
and try out for potentially being picked up by this agent.
It was like a 4-week course for 60,000 that everyone got. That everyone that walked
Every
in
single
got.
person got it.
So you didn't even know what you were auditioning
No,
for?
I
No, there
thought I was
nothing.
going
It
to be
just-
a Disney
it was a
star.
scam. They
It was
bring
a
people in
scam.
and they go, hey, everyone gets the...
Oh.
Yeah, everyone
go,
gets
"Hey,
a slow
would you like
clap
to come?"
because they're in private rooms. So you think
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
the only one who
think it
got
was
the
6
slow
weeks.
clap. And you go over for no, you're right. It was a 4-week. It was a 4-week
weeks,
course,
yeah.
and you pay $60,000, right?
So you went.
To and I was like, double it.
Yeah.
It's better chances.
Double it, 120. I'll be there.
And it was to go to like an expo and stand in his booth in the hope that a producer from someone would walk past.
It was you go...
There was no promise
Nath
of
rang,
anything.
Nath rang his mum and dad
Yeah.
after his
I was like, do we have $60,000
yeah,
US dollars?
exactly.
And he's like,
Can we
"Do you
can we
think
sell
that's a
some of
good
that? Can we refinance the house?
It was an ad on the radio station, and then people in the radio station were talking about it. Going, oh, did you hear
There's
about
articles about it. This
that
was a big
Disney scam that like everyone gets given
Huge
a brochure
scam.
for.
You
So
can-
then
you
you
can
wanted to
Google
be
it.
an actor.
Yeah. So, well, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I
Do you
did acting
still?
at school. No, God, no.
Are you sure?
I was woeful at it. Yeah.
You weren't good.
No, well, I thought I was good. I was
Yeah.
Galileo in the
Got it.
I was Galileo in the Life of Galileo in Year 12.
I
That
played
is-
Lila in Sound of Music. Do you remember who she was? Sound of Music?
Yeah. I was also
No, Brigitte.
I was Wickersham in the Seussical the musical.
So there's a part of you that likes to perform then.
I love performing. I just
Yeah.
don't have no. I was okay at acting. Like
Yeah.
I did well in drama. I think I was like 4th in the state in drama. But I can't sing. I have no rhythm and I can't dance.
So radio it is.
Oh yeah, I always say, Jim and I always say, so Jim's Jim can sing, he was in a band, you've written songs, he can play music. I always say I'd be fantastic as a front man of a band if somebody else could sing and play all the music behind the curtain.
You guys could have a band.
Look at stage
You just need yeah.
Stage presence, just no ability.
Right.
Well, early on Neckery, we had a meeting with I don't even know how.
Just quickly, I didn't go to LA, didn't play the 60,000.
Okay,
just
okay.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
so
yeah,
people know that you're not that.
They then called me back and they said, you know this, they called me back and they go, okay, for you,
Yeah.
40,000. I
Did
call
they
mum.
really?
I think it was
she
like
just,
55.
Yeah, she goes,
Yeah.
we'll knock off $5,000. I call mum and she goes, no. And I go, oh, we can't make it work this
Can't
time.
do it.
So, could have been a star, guys.
Could have been. Could
I
have been
feel
a
like
star.
you're still a star.
No, he is. He could be.
Thanks, man. How much do I owe you?
We had a meeting with Channel 7 early in our career. I don't even know how we got in there with like the head of Channel 7, whose
Yeah.
name I don't remember.
Yeah.
And because I think it was we were just trying sort of all our hands at things before radio sort of stuck. And he was like, he looked at Nath and he's like, and it was like I didn't even fucking exist in this room. Like he was just staring at Nath and he's like, home and away. He's like, you have this home and away look.
You have such a home and away look.
I'm very
I,
home
If
and away.
you had said to me you
Al
were on Home
Stewart.
and Away, I would say that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's got the arms, the face, the classic Australian.
We're on at the
could've
same
sort of
time when we lost the virginity. That's how
We could have hooked up on Home and Away.
we lost our virginity.
Yeah, of course.
together.
Yeah,
So
of course. That's
it's
what
because-
happened.
Yeah, that's
on
what
the
would have
beach.
happened.
On the beach in
No,
our store.
you're blonde.
Yeah, true. You
That's
like dark
true.
features. We
Yeah.
discuss this on our podcast.
Dark.
Born Funny. Search Jimmy Nath for
Yeah,
every podcast.
born funny. But you're saying in the beginning of the career.
Oh no, I was just
Channel
saying that. Yeah, that happened. I think he offered me Beauty and the Geek or something.
Oh my gosh.
Not the Beauty, the Geek. Fuck yourself, whoever that was.
And weirdly, I was the beauty, and that's how we
Yeah.
met.
So in the beginning of you guys getting together, obviously it was not as success. The show was not as successful as it is now. So did you feel
What
like you
gave
were?
that away?
Did you feel like you were like climbing? Like were there like what was the pay in the beginning of like radio?
Free. We weren't getting
Was it
paid for
free?
it. We did for. I mean, it's a long story. I won't bore you with all of it. Or maybe I will. Told you
Listen,
the
we just
Disney
went
one.
through that whole Disney story. We were in it with you.
But Jim and I did. We did fake shows to nobody for 2 years.
That's manifestation.
2
Did you know
years, and all we would do, we'd put it. You put it up on SoundCloud, wasn't it? It was on SoundCloud.
You're on SoundCloud.
Yeah, so we had access to the studio because I was producing. I knew how to panel, right?
Yeah.
And so I would.
No, he was doing a lot of radio stuff. He was
Yeah.
doing a radio show uni with another guy.
Yeah, community
So
radio.
the guy at Nova, he was doing like show stuff with, and then I'd moved to Sydney because I was living in America. Went to University of Alabama. I came back and I was like, I wanted. Growing up in a small country town, we didn't have drama. I didn't have anyone in media, so it was never in the realm of possibility. It wasn't until I went to the States. I don't know if you've found this in America. When I did kind of maybe entertain the idea of like I could be funny or be in media, like my mates in Australia were like, shut the fuck up, dickhead, you're not funny, like blah, blah, blah. Whereas like in America it was like, you should do it, you could
You're
be
a
the
star.
you're a star, you could do whatever you want, like,
Yeah.
and this was at college and like friends are like, you are funny, you should do something. So I came back to Australia just with like this confidence, and I was like, I didn't know anyone in the industry, and I was just like, fuck it, Sydney seems like maybe I could run into people. Luckily, I ran into Nath, who was doing a lot of that radio stuff. And then I think when we hung out, especially it was drinking. We were hanging out having beers, and people around us at like a table at a pub or a venue who were like Kate Ritchie. She was at Nova at that stage. They would like see us and go, you guys are really funny together. You should try and do something. So that was the impetus that got us to start doing things.
Yeah.
And then how do you get like your first break?
So we were doing fake shows and we'd send it to our boss, get feedback, do
Yeah.
it again. No one heard it except him. That was it. And then we got it was an email from the big boss at the time, and he is Scottish. And he
Right.
was
Scottish.
notoriously a pretty prickly, scary dude, but who's had huge success in creating big radio shows and big radio stations. And we got an email, and the email, I'm going to put the accent on, even though you
Please
can't
do.
hear accents in the email, because it's a very simple one. He goes,
You could hear it.
yeah, but you could hear it, because you hear him in the office all the time.
Yeah.
And the email said, right, Jimmy Nath, you get one go, don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
That was it. And we had 1 a.m. till 6 a.m. on a Friday night. And that was our very first ever radio show. And we didn't fuck it up. And so he
Yeah.
goes, right, you get another go.
We did
Yeah,
that-
no other goal.
We did that for like nearly a year, 1 a.m. to 6 a.m., which just like fucking wrecked us.
So then how do you pay your bills if you're not getting paid
So
and you're doing free shows?
What happened was we had to, for us, we were specifically told, Jimmy Nath, because you don't have a profile, no one knows who you are. If you want a radio show, you have to sell it. You have to get it sponsored, and from that sponsorship, you can withdraw your own pay. So that's what we did.
But we didn't, like, we did everything.
Yeah.
So, like, they'd also, like, we can't give you anything. So, like, I had to learn, I knew a little bit of Pro Tools and stuff from when I played music and I was in a band. So, like, I would create our show openers and our audio and stuff.
Yep.
And
And digital.
and I learned how to cut videos and put that together. Nath, because he'd been worked on other shows, he knew how to answer the phones, he knew how to push the buttons and panel the show. So we did everything ourselves, like, and I had to learn how to put the ads in, how to like form guide and put the music in. Like,
We were
had to do
self-produced and self-made.
everything, which is great now because there's no one in the business that and then we had to go to sales. We had to help sales sell the thing, so there wasn't anything in the business that we didn't know how to do. So now when we ask someone to do something, we know how long that takes.
Yeah.
So we know when someone bullshits us
Yeah.
and goes, "Oh mate, it's gonna be a long turnaround on that."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, it's fucking not."
I just think this is a misconception that people are going to do things for you. I mean, honestly, I've done my whole career, everything, either this podcast, my podcast in the States, even the shows that I've been on recently, I created it myself. And people have this idea that like all of a sudden, the spotlight's going to come on and be like, we are going to open up the doors. I feel like when I first started, people wanted to help you. But now it's just like because so many people create their own content, they just want something that's already successful. Even agents in America, they're like, okay, we'll take you if you're already a star.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, then people go, well, how do you become a star? Like, how do you become successful?
Well, I think the thing we love about you, Tammin, and we spoke about this on our podcast, Born Funny, but one thing that, makes you very,
Go listen.
very, very similar to us, and you described yourself as this, as a scrapper, a scrapper as a fighter. So many people think, people just get handed stuff. And don't get me wrong, there are people who just get handed stuff, get kissed on the dick and get that opportunity. Most of the time they fuck it up, but sometimes they don't. You aren't one of those people. You're one of those people who had to fight and scrap for everything that you got, and you've built this empire. We're the same, which is why, when we chatted to you, we appreciated the hustles. One thing we've always really enjoyed and loved when people have achieved is when they have the hustle. And that's across any kind of form and any kind of success. It doesn't have to be in the entertainment space.
Yeah.
Like we've got people in, corporate business, strategy, that kind of thing, who have, scrapped and hustled, and now they have huge success.
Yeah.
It's something that we really appreciate because that's what we did.
And I think it gives you more longevity too, because you're not waiting for somebody else to give you the answer, to give you the job.
Of course not.
Let's go to dating. Can we talk about dating?
go to
Doing
dating.
dating.
It's been 10 years.
Dating. Okay, I want to ask a few questions. What is your biggest dating ick? Like, what is one thing that is a turnoff that you just can't get back from?
I don't know. I don't know why, but there's one thing I really hate, and it's like when you're out on a date and you cheers, right? You cheers someone,
Yeah.
and they don't drink after they cheers.
Yeah,
Like they cheers and
Then
go,
you're done. Like you're not.
I've
Going,
checked
then you're not
out.
going. You're not going home with her.
no, I'm
No.
like, I don't know why. It's always giving me the biggest ick. Like I'll sit down and be like, hey, like, you know, so like first day or something, like, yeah, so great to meet you. Cheers. Like, you know,
You could
go
have just
glass
met your life
champagne.
partner,
Bang
but because
on, no.
they did not
I just-
cheers you
Mine
out.
is similar to that is with the cheersing because Jimmy and I I don't know why we're so strict on cheersing. You know this
Yeah.
one for me. Eye contact. Look at me.
Like
know
just
what I mean?
in general.
Well, just with the cheers, I think there should be.
What
you
about
know,
during
eye
sex? You need, like,
Oh, you need to stare
You
at
need to
me.
be, like,
Stare
staring?
into my soul.
Oh my god! I'm like, don't even look at me. Just
Lights
put my head
on.
to the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Are you
Lights
kidding?
on.
Lights on.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
lights on
See
always.
these lights? I have them in the bedroom.
I like if I want to have sex with someone, it's
I want
to
to see
look
it.
at them.
Yeah, I'm big on that too. I hate it when the lights are off. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't see shit.
Maybe it's just because you're young and newly married or something. I don't know. But like once you get older, it's
You're
just like
not old.
I no, but it's just when
We're
you've been
not
with someone
talking
for
to
so long,
Dame
you're just like
Judi Dench.
Well, you don't know. This guy, I'm AI.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this
yeah.
is just
She has
a
had
hol-
a
I'm a-
lot of work done.
This is just a hologram.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could smell the Botox.
You're
No, it's,
natural.
I actually got a little bit. Can you see him? This is me angry.
Well, it's working. Yeah.
I can't see anything.
My husband's like, "You're not angry anymore." I'm
Money
like, "No, I
well
am. I just can't frown.
I'm so mad.
I can do this, but I can't do this."
We had a producer once, and Nath went outside and was like, "You must have been really enjoying the show lately." And she's like, "No, I just got Botox."
Yeah. She's like, "I can't make any
That's true
facial
story.
It's like,
movements."
I
True
can't
story.
disapprove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so eye contact. But do you shut your eyes when you kiss?
Okay, this is a weird one.
Please tell me you don't.
I'm an open eye kisser,
No,
and
you're
it's
not.
real weird. And
It's
my wife
real
hates it. I don't know why. I try. I have to remind myself to close my eyes when I kiss because
I
it's
want
fucking
a
weird.
video of your wedding so we
Yeah.
can put it in this show of you kissing your wife
Yeah.
at the wedding with your eyes open.
Well, so here's the thing. So we practiced at the
Kissing.
like we
You
practiced. We did.
kissing.
Jimmy knows this. We practiced kissing. We had to practice the dip. Because
Yeah.
apparently there's well, not apparently the big photo is after you get married you walk down the aisle as a couple, everyone's throwing the what is it, dried
Confetti.
flowers and
Yeah.
confetti and stuff,
Yeah.
and then there's the moment where she turns and dips and drops the bouquet
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And we practiced that like 40 times, right? And remember I have like
Yeah.
not that you need rhythm, but you kind of do need rhythm for that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm freaking out, going, I'm gonna fucking drop her, all
Yeah.
this shit. But in that, she was like, when we were practicing, she goes, "Fucking close your eyes, close your eyes when
And
you
you're like,
kiss."
I'm not gonna drop you.
And I was like, no, because I'm balancing
Yeah,
you. I was
yeah.
like, I've got to look at the photo. I've got to have my eyes open. And
No,
she
it's
goes,
too
don't,
much.
please close the eyes. So
Yeah.
I was so nervous because I'm an open eye kisser.
And do you make out like you kiss during sex?
Yeah.
At the start, yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of neck gear,
Well, because I'm so old.
bit
like,
of biting of the ear,
really interesting.
bit of whispering in the
What's
ear.
your worst dating? What you have like a terrible date that you've ever gone on? Like a
Um,
terrible date that everything went wrong.
I mean, I've probably been on like 100, 200 dates.
In your lifetime?
300.
You're like
I-
this month.
I took
Well,
a
like I've-
Sorry, 7 months ago.
I tend to self-sabotage in a relationship, so I'll be in a good like spot, and then I will just go and fuck that shit up.
and how
I
do you
just-
fuck it up?
Well, once I was with a partner who weirdly, we were on a plane yesterday, and I got on the plane. I was like, I'm just so tired, and I slept, and then I got off, and Nate's like looking at me like, I'm like, what? He goes, your ex was on this plane. It's not my most recent ex, but that one went really
few
badly.
exes ago.
Yeah, I cheated on her with a married woman, and she found out about it, and it was a pretty bad time.
You do it because you feel like you don't know why you're doing it.
No, it's definitely like drugs and alcohol play a huge part. My relationship with them has been very up and down. I was sober for 12 months, which was probably some of the best months of my life, but then just fell off the wagon again. It's chasing the highs. Like, I don't know if you've ever found this in your career. Like, the more successful that Nathan and I become, and you get invited to certain parties and get to hang out with really cool people,
Yeah.
at some point that becomes numb because it becomes what your life is. So I tend to chase other things, and that is exhilaration of drugs, alcohol, and then it's like, oh, this is risque. We shouldn't do this. They're highs. They're highs that you're not getting elsewhere.
It's a dopamine rush.
Yeah.
And again, I was so young when I got my first dopamine rush that I think work was my addiction for a long time, and maybe that's your addiction because you get that dopamine rush from that. but I never tried drugs because I was so worried I would like them.
You've never done any drugs?
I smoked marijuana once, and I drove myself to the hospital, fell asleep, and got a pizza. And I was like, this is the worst drug I've ever taken. I just think I'll either die or like him.
Because you're sober now, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I say sober. I haven't drank for over a year and a half. But not
you
because
had a bad relationship,
yeah,
or
there's.
you just-
I don't know
I
about
mean,
that.
this is liquid weed in here.
You had a bad relationship with it, or you just
No,
didn't like it,
never.
or-
But I can't say that I have mental health issues and then drink.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
It's
do that all the
it's
time.
literally like saying there's
what I
a
do,
there's
not
a
what do I
fire.
say, not what I do.
There's a fire, and I'm gonna pour gasoline on it.
Yeah.
And I know that if I drink, the next 3 days are gonna be awful for my mental health. And so I just choose not to steal from tomorrow for today.
This is going to sound really weird, and again, everyone's on their own mental health journey, and you mentioned it earlier, like depression affects people differently, anxiety affects people differently, and everything. But there are definitely times where I've found that, like drinking and going out and blowing off steam, not making bad decisions, but just going out and having a few drinks and stuff. Actually, I feel better the next day.
Right.
There were times definitely when I was sober and I was just like out with mates, and I'm like, I just love a couple of beers, and just to like that.
Yeah.
Whatever that does to you and the chemicals within your brain, because alcohol's a depressant.
Right.
But yeah, I again don't do what I do. Do what I say.
I used to for a long time. Like I didn't do drugs for a very long time, and I didn't drink for a very long time.
Until how long? To what age?
Probably like I started drinking at probably like 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't do like drugs until probably like mid-20s. And the main reason I remember as a kid, like, when we were underage, but everyone was like, we'll sneak out and do some drinks. I used to say, such a loser. I used to say, no, I can, I get drunk off having fun.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I'm going to be a Nickelodeon.
No, I was like,
get drunk on having fun.
I don't need to drink to have fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you start drinking and you're like, whoo. Okay.
It feels great.
And you're like, okay, right, I remember that. And then, you go through those, those formative years of like schoolies and all that kind of stuff where you're really finding what you like and what you don't like and all that kind of stuff. And then, then it's kind of, petered out now where it's like, we're at that age now where hangovers are 3-4 days.
Right.
3-4 days and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I don't need to, do it how I used to do it all the time. But I still do it every. Like I'm very much in moderation. Like I'll go hit it hard 1 week and then like have 2 weeks off.
Does your wife care?
No, she drinks just as much. She has an ability. She's only little, but she can drink a lot.
Right.
Which is, she doesn't do drugs or anything because she has cystic fibrosis. And so probably a very smart decision for her not to do any of that. But, she's very health conscious and that kind of stuff. And she's absolutely made me a lot better as a human being in so many different ways, just because of how diligent and incredible she is as a woman. It's like I said it in my wedding vows only, 2 weeks ago now. So many people have mentors in their life that they've never met or that they never will meet that they look up to. Like I got to marry mine. She's unbelievable in so many different ways. We climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and she was the first Australian with cystic fibrosis to do that. And we raised $60,000 for CF, and she's been a pin-up girl for that, for that condition for a very long time. And she was at the forefront of bringing in a drug called Trikafta, which has now become a life-saving drug for so many people with cystic fibrosis. And so to have someone like that in your life puts a lot of things into perspective and helps you, improve and make better decisions and, just be a better human. So if I can be anything like she is, I'll be all good.
Apologize to my husband from before.
When can I tell this story?
No, well, I was fighting with him right before the.
As I arrived, I don't even know if I told you this. As I arrived,
my arms were crossed.
As I arrived, Tammin was out the front of this beautiful recording space, and she was on the phone, and I, like being classic ass rocked, I was like, "Hey, when's the podcast start?" Like,
he's like, "I'm just gonna park on the middle of the street. You think that anyone will care?"
I was like, just pulled like that bit that we do. I just pulled the handbrake in the middle of the road. Blah blah blah.
I'm just gonna leave my car here.
And Tammin's like, she's like, you guys don't park there. And I was like, oh, okay, serious conversation, mate.
I was not. I was like, no, are you really gonna
And then I got out, walked past, and I was like, oh, she's like, this is a serious conversation.
Listen, we're now in like adult world. I mean, you guys are a little younger than me, and we just bought our first home yesterday.
Congrats.
Which is, it's. Thank you. Wait. We need to start like this.
Oh, you are going to be a star. You are going to be a star.
But here's the thing. I find it difficult, and maybe, Jimmy, you understand this, but I find it hard to like live in the moment when good things are happening. So yes, buying a house, I'm super grateful. But it's not, now we just have to keep the house, right? And so that I'm, constantly thinking of like when can the shoe drop because maybe people will never want to work with me again. Or, I mean, there's constantly a what if scenario. And I live a lot of my life in that space, which means you, again, rob yourself of the joy of being present because I'm constantly thinking of what's going to happen. So if I can just try to control the future, then, which you can't, then I think I would feel a lot better about the situation. So yes, I'm very excited that we have our own home now. But now I'm freaked out by having our own home.
It is. I think one of the hardest things is to be present and to live in the moment. I know that I really struggle with reliving past trauma and beating myself up for it. Teaching myself to forgive myself has been really difficult. And then also like worrying about the future. Like, and it could be something fun. Like in the next few weeks, Nathan and I are going to CMC, Country Music Fest in Queensland, down to the F1 in Melbourne. Comedy Fest in Melbourne, doing a live show down there, and like constantly just freaking out about all of them. Like, what happens what happens if people come up to me? I get social anxiety when I have heaps of people come up and they expect the show. Like they see, the Jimmy Nath and the radio show, and they're not getting that when I'm like, my head's down.
Right.
So like, I just freak out about it the whole time. And then at work, like all we do is have meetings. So like, and it's a 10 o'clock meeting about, hey, we've got to do this and this. So like, I'm trying to be a lot more present. I think journaling's been really good for me and being able to write it down and it looks like someone else's thoughts. Like, I don't know if you've ever found, I find I give really good advice to other people and people have always told me that, but I can't take any of that myself. So I find journaling and writing it down and reading it back going, oh, this is wonderful. I can be here and present in this moment. Meditation I found is really good in trying to learn how to quiet my brain. And it's so interesting. I don't know if you've done any meditation. Like
many times, yeah.
Fuck me, there's so many thoughts. Like it's crazy how I can have like 100 thoughts over one thing.
Right.
And so I think being present is because, I mean, at the end of the day, not to be morbid, but like none of us know how much time we have here and what's promised in itself. Like, I've worried about like, it's on our contracts near up. Like, are they going to renew it? Like, where else are we going to go? We're going to negotiate with someone else. So, the more present I can be, the more joy and more happiness I find in my own life.
Do you fear death?
No.
No one on this show fears death.
That was a Pirates of the Caribbean line, you know that? Do you fear death, Miss Turner?
Is it really?
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean TikToks.
Why?
I don't know.
Are you on the North Sea TikTok?
Yes, the music gets me. And the big waves.
I don't know what's happening right
now. You
the
don't
North
know?
Sea. Oh my
people
god!
go,
I don't know why.
And it's like, can we pick another fucking song?
Oh, and it's addictive.
And you're going through the Drake Pass. And the boat's going. So this is what it means is that you're going on TikTok. You show these like seas, these ships going in the sea, but it looks like they're not gonna make it. Yeah. And this song is, and everyone's like, no, we're going through the Drake Pass, and everyone's puking.
Is this what you two do in your marriage life?
No, I literally,
I
can't look at like. Looking at boys and girls, not looking at like the Drake Pass.
I'm sitting on the toilet, and Meg will be like in the office, and she'll hear. Are you watching North Sea videos again? I'm like, yes.
But now I'm on pirate TikTok because once you go on North Sea TikTok, you're probably gonna fall into Pirate Sea TikTok, which is like there are pirates. I just thought that was like a pirate.
Somali pirates.
There's like real pirates, and they come on and they have to deck their boats out with all this barbed wire and shit.
What about the fake
bodies?
The
fake bodies on the top, so they're like looking out to the pirates, so they can't come on.
Crazy.
But the same fucking song.
So when you get deep enough, you'll eventually traverse into Pirates of the Caribbean content, and that's where I am.
Yes.
That's where I am at
Pirates
the
of the
moment.
Caribbean, and then you'll say questions like, "Do you fear death?"
Yeah.
But how does it go? Do you fear
death, Miss Turner?
Do you fear death, Miss Turner?
Yeah, let's put that clip
No one
in
on this
here,
podcast fears death. So I don't know. I don't know if it's an Australian thing.
I feared death when I was a kid. Like it kept me. Like I went and saw a psychologist as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was on Zoloft. Like I would have been 10-ish maybe.
You on anything now?
What's Zoloft? Can I ask what Zoloft is?
It's a form of antidepressant.
Anti-anxiety.
Zoloft.
They want to
What's
put
a
me
brand,
on it.
really? I'm pretty sure Zoloft's a brand.
They want me to be on it, and I'm like, but it will take away my spark.
Have you been on any antidepressants?
I was on Lexapro for 4 weeks after my
Could you
first...
come on Lexapro?
Wait. So I got diverted. I was like I was in pirate TikTok, and then now I'm thinking about if I came on Lexapro. So it was just after I gave birth to my first daughter, and I had a C-section, and your hormones go all over the place, so your orgasms are deadened anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure to answer that question.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get out of bed at postpartum.
Yeah.
And no one at the time, this was like 10 years ago, was really open about postpartum depression and all that, the things that happen with your hormones. And I just couldn't see. I could not see straight. There's nothing else to describe it, but like, I didn't even know if I was dead or alive. I didn't even know what was happening, where I was. I was, all I cared about was this baby, but I didn't know. I was so afraid to take care of her, and I was thinking of awful things that could happen to her. They put me on Lexapro, but my mom's a doctor's daughter, so she hates taking medication. She's had some reactions to it. So I got liquid Lexapro, and I took it goes up to like 30 milligrams, and I took like 2 milligrams of liquid, and I was like, I feel it. I feel the head, because you get head shocks. I'm like, I feel the head shocks. I can't orgasm. I can't cry. I was so afraid that I couldn't cry. And then I realized that I don't think I gave it a real shot.
Yeah.
My therapist thinks that my life would be a lot easier if I just took it, because hormonally there's 10 days out of the month that I don't do very well. Yeah. And then the rest I'm pretty normal, but those 10 days are pretty awful to live with me. Hence why you saw the argument outside. Like, I get in my own head, and it's a lot. But so you were saying Zoloft.
Yeah, when I was a kid. I'm on antidepressants now, which is, I can't remember, it's 50 milligrams of some.
Did they help?
Yeah, it's I mean, I fought with, I was going through therapy, and I fought on getting on medication for a long time because of the performative element of what we do.
That was one of those discussions we had.
Yeah,
it was like everything. You know, I can almost go with, like, you know, Jim's mental health journey and battle in different steps. And there was the step of the psychology, making that decision to do that. Again, you were, you didn't really want to do that. It took you a moment to really lean into that, and then we went again with the antidepressants.
Yeah, I didn't want to take any medication because I was just so, and I remember my GP, and one thing I've always said is, like, getting a great relationship with your GP.
Yeah.
Because your GP is like, hey, you get a mental health plan, and you see a psychologist, whatever. But your GP, just to be fucking honest.
Yeah.
Like, so many people I know who struggle with mental health or anything, STIs, like, they won't be honest with it. Or like, oh, I'm doing cocaine. Like, because they're like, I don't want this GP to judge me. Like, if you get a good GP, like, then you can look after yourself. Whether it's not mental health, physical health, or anything. So if you don't have a good relationship, I'd really stress that. But yeah, I had a great GP, and he was honest. He's like, mate, it's like putting your fucking hand in a candy jar and going, oh, I hope this one works.
Right.
So, like, I tried a few, this is being an adult, until I'm on the one now, which depression's like a wave, right? So there are highs, and then there's these incredible lows. So what I would explain is it's minimized it, right? So my highs are not a high. That's just the truth. Like, I don't have these really euphoric things that I used to, but I also don't have these incredible lows where I just feel like everything's fucked and I just, don't want to be here anymore. But when I was a kid, yeah, I was on Zoloft, and I'd go see a child, because I was afraid of death. Like, I was afraid of dying. I was like, I had this crisis of like, what's the fucking point of anything? Because I'm going to die.
Right.
I'm like, why am I going to school? Like, why are we going to do this? And nothing matters. And then eventually I through that, probably really helped me form part of who I am and my confidence to be like, well, if nothing really matters, then why not just give it a fucking red hot go at anything?
Yeah.
So that was really formative. But then I got off them because I remember as a kid, like, I really struggled, and I really didn't have any personality whatsoever.
Now, does it affect, like, sexual activity or weight gain? That's my fear.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be happy. I mean, I'd rather be happy than worry about that. But those are my two biggest fears.
Well, because I was single at the time when I was getting on medication for the first time, and they give you, like, he prints it off, like, it's fucking 10, 12 pages of, like, side effects.
Things that could happen.
And I'm like reading through it, and I've told this before many times, but I'm like, the only thing I looked at was like, may affect, like, your ability to get an erection. Yeah. I didn't even care if I could come or not. I was like, I just want a hard cock. Like, that's all. Like,
as
imagine.
As long as I have that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't, because I was like, I got a great cock. It's a good cock. It's a thick cock. It's a long cock.
Yeah, great cock, like, Peter. Great cock, Peter.
I got a great cock.
Yeah, I got a great cock. I was like, I want to make sure this thing works. And early, I was on some others, and I can't remember everything that I was on, but I couldn't come at first. Now I can come. It just takes longer. It's harder to reach climax.
Listen, I'm not sure if all women are upset about that.
No, which you're right. It's not a.
Yeah.
My partner doesn't care. She's.
Yeah.
She comes and then I'm like, all right, can we keep going? She's like, yep. So yeah, not a bad thing to have.
So death doesn't bother you guys because, for me, like I believe that there's something greater, but also the idea of nothing scares me.
Yeah, I think my opinion is like I want to focus on the end when I'm it. I'm in it. You know,
But it will
I'm in the
happen.
race. Of course it'll happen.
Ugh,
But I'm like, you never you don't go to a party thinking of when's it going to end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you go to a party to party. You know, that's what like for me. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like if I were to think about it, like, okay, how can I make as much out of this portion of time that I'm here for as possible? You know, how can I see as much of the world, achieve as much as I can, you know, surround myself with people that I want to be around, have as much fun, you know, have like good conversations with people, experience as much as I can in that time that I'm here for. That's that.
It's funny that you said it though, because every time I go to a party, I'm thinking about when does it end.
Same.
Yeah, there you go.
See, I'm like that too.
But it affects my ability into like sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck, how long am I going to be here for? Or it's like, all right, I need to get the most out of this because I'm not going to be here for long. So it can sometimes energize me in a way of like, all right, this party's only for a few hours, so I can go mingle or whatever. Or like, fuck, we're going to be here forever, and then the dread and anxiety sets in. One thing I do, which I don't think I've actually ever talked about this on our show or anywhere before, is when I'm really struggling, and I don't know if this is fucking morbid, but I go for a run and there's a graveyard near my house, and I run through it and I look and there's fucking graves from like 1820 or whatever, like, and then you read them and it's like this person was 20, 50, like there's so many different 18 months old, like there's little ones for back, and I'm like, you run, and then the years they're born, the years they die, and like I'm just like, it doesn't make me happy, but what it makes me realize is like nothing's fucking promised. Like whatever thing I'm dealing with, like even if it's my own fault and I've cheated or hurt someone really badly or made a poor decision, or, you know, I'm struggling at work with a contract negotiation or just struggling with my own depression, I'm like, it doesn't really matter because I'm still here. I still have air in my lungs. My heart's still beating. I'm still here alive on earth, and I need to go shake it sort of off and go back and get the most out of it.
And you make a choice every day to be here.
Yep.
And that is enough.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't know it would get so emotional. I was literally about to cry, too. I have 2 things left before you guys go.
And we have one thing. So you do your 2 things and we'll finish with one thing.
What is it?
Don't worry about it.
I'm going to have a threesome with you on this couch.
Oh, well.
I'm going to
I get what I
recreate
can
Jimmy's
get.
virginity loss.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a boat we're
Wait,
on.
what's the line I have to say? Oh, you want to get... Oh, can I get in on that?
Yeah, can you know that? Can I have a bit of this?
Can I get in on that?
No, the
Can
line
I
is,
get
do
it-
you fear death?
Do you fair death? Can I get in on that? Okay, 2 things. I want both of your like a really shit show story, because it's obviously it's called The Shit Show.
Sure.
I want to know a shit show story. It could be heartfelt, or it could be just like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened to me. And then I need you guys to tell me your favorite Aussie slang words. And I like newer ones because
heaps.
obviously I come back and forth and they change. I heard rig the other day. I'm like, oh my god, which is
Rig?
body.
You haven't heard
Never
that?
heard rig before. I suppose you've been
Never.
in America, haven't you?
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, everyone's got their rigs out.
She's
And
got
I was like,
beautiful rig.
what is that? Okay, so first the shit show story.
Shit show story.
I got one, and I'll give you a shit show story. And I guess we've been a bit emotional, so I'll give you some humour. I'll throw some comedy out there. Nathan and I were in Melbourne. We were flying back to Sydney, and we'd been out the night before, and like all night and not well, you know, like you just drink a lot.
This is good.
And I get to the airport, and we're there for work actually. So one of our producers was there, and I'm at the airport, and I'm like, I've got a shit. Like violent diarrhea. Like, you know when you know that it's diarrhea? Like, it's not a poo. Like,
Oh, it feels like, yeah, it's kind of coming.
This is not well.
Yeah.
And so I run towards the bathrooms in the food court area. And I run into the male bathroom, and they're all full. They're all full, and there's people lining up to wait. And I'm like, I'm like it was leaking out. Like, I'm going to shit myself. And so I run back out. And there's as you walk into the entry of, like, it's an open, like, there's no doors. There's a disabled toilet. And so, you know, there's a green button. So you hit it, and there's no one in there. And I'm like, thank God. So the door shuts, and I sit on the, God, like, you know, evacuation, everyone off. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, thank God. Now, I didn't know there's a button you press to lock it. So like
when you
hit it to open it, and then when you sit down, you press a button to be like engaged. I'm in there, so I didn't know that. So I'm now I didn't stand up to wipe, so I'm standing up. And
Sorry,
I'm like,
what?
I'm standing up to wipe. So I'm
You
like,
stand up to wipe.
to wipe. Some people say they
You
wipe.
sit
sitting
down to wipe?
Isn't it a sit down to wipe?
No,
Yeah, so
we've
this
had
is-
this discussion. We're standers. Are you
Yeah.
a sitter, Dylan?
I'm a
definitely
stand up
sitter,
to wipe.
Yeah.
You're a sitter.
You sit. How do you get your hand
How do you
under
do
there?
that? How flexible are
That
you?
was just how I was taught to wipe.
You
Like,
go
But
under
you
the,
s-
but I stand.
You go under?
You go under.
Yeah.
You
No.
must have to come up a little bit. Don't
Yeah,
you?
come up a little bit.
Like a
but
low
not
squat.
Like,
You gotta
like,
get up.
standing's a thing.
Yeah,
You do have
stands a thing.
strong-looking
Oh,
legs.
I stand.
Maybe that's
I
why.
stand straight up.
You
Yeah.
stand straight up.
'Cause we
Okay,
I think we
there
did
go.
this story on the show, and that's what led to us to.
And,
have-
and what's the split?
it's about
What's the-
50-50.
It's about 50. Okay,
So did
cool.
you say you stand straight up, like a
Yeah,
tin
let me
soldier?
let me think about it.
Because that you can't, because that'll close your
No, 'cause
anus.
it close your
If you're like, it
cheeks.
closes your anus.
I'm probably that high.
We don't go out of that, by the way.
I stand up.
You stand up.
Do you
yeah.
sit to pee?
No,
No.
stand.
stand
Except
to
at
pee.
night. Because it's the lights and dark, and I don't want to piss all over the
Oh,
seat.
the only time I'll sit to pee is if I have like some morning wood going on, and it's hard to. You
No,
know.
but I can't sit to people going up morning wood. Mine goes up.
I'll have to be like. I'll have to.
Yours does it. Yours
I have to
goes.
lay down.
Might
I have to go
like that. Do a handstand on the toilet and
Fold
or
here.
something
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Otherwise
Anyway.
it hurts.
So
Oh
I'm in
my
the airport.
God.
I'm in the disabled toilet. I've just shit myself everywhere. I'm now standing up. So the door is here. Get the toilet bowl's here. This is the paper. I'm getting the paper. I'm wiping.
I have such a good view right
then-
now.
I hear the sobbing of a small child, and I turn around and look out, and there are all these disabled kids in wheelchairs.
Are you joking?
Lined up to use this disabled bathroom. I later find out there's a disabled wheelchair competition was on or something.
Oh,
There's probably like 5 or 6 kids
This
with,
seems like this couldn't be real.
with their mothers.
really
as
real?
I'm just frozen in fear.
Obviously not disabled.
It's
I'm
really
not
real.
disabled. I'm
clearly
standing.
not.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't even finished wiping, but I just like flush, and then and then I started apologizing, and this one kid at the front, and I'm
So
and
sorry.
the mum's like, and
These assholes. Yeah.
yeah, and I walk out, and that's like the
you should have
most.
just said I have explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, I didn't know what to say.
Oh,
And
they
then
would've
our
seen it.
producer at the time was standing there, and she'd like seen just the end of it. She didn't get to see my butthole, unfortunately. But it's the most embarrassed I've ever been. That was a shit show.
What was your biggest shit show moment, Nath?
Well, I mean, you've heard the Disney story, so I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
We were
like, there's many more where that came
There
from.
are so many. No, we were in America, and we were seeing. It was me, my partner, and another couple, and we were seeing. We booked tickets to see the Book of Mormon, which I
Yeah.
was super excited about. If you know
Yeah.
the Book of Mormon,
Such a great
written
show.
by the South Park guys.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to see it, and we're like, okay, we want to go for like a nice dinner beforehand
Yeah.
that we could, then. And it was when New York had been hit by, I think they called it a blue bomb, where it was so incredibly cold outside. Like we're talking minus like 10, minus 15. This is degrees Celsius, by the way. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was
Minus 50.
yeah, but it was freezing to the point where anyone who was like homeless on the street, they legally had to be brought inside. That's how
Wow.
cold it was. Anyway. So we found this restaurant, and it happened to be we found it on Instagram because Kim Kardashian had been there,
Right.
and it was Ralph Lauren's personal steak restaurant.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, it was like who knew he did steak? But anyway,
Yeah.
So we went in
Who
there.
knew?
Yeah, we went in there, and we were looking at the menu, like, oh, what can we get? And there was another menu on another table, and my partner, now wife, she picked it up and goes, oh my god, there's Ralph Lauren's steak. Like you can get a steak from a cow from his personal farm.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, how cool is that? Anyway, so we're like, yeah, great, let's get that. What we didn't do was look at the price, which
Well,
we
it's a
definitely
cow.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it came out, and we ate it. No, it came out, and it took ages to prepare it, and we're like,
Because
okay.
they went to his farm and killed it.
They
for
had to
you.
go get the
Great.
cow. So we're like, okay, we've got this
Great.
show in 30 minutes. We've got to get a cab to the show, to the
Yeah.
performance, and we're like, fuck, we're running out of time. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to rush these, Michelin hat chefs,
gosh.
and they were so like they're screaming at us, going, we can't rush the Ralph Lauren steak. Like, how dare you? I'm like, how much is this steak going to cost?
Yeah.
Anyway, it came out, and we had 7 minutes to eat this 5 kilogram. It was 4 of us. 500-gram steak.
Yeah.
It was amazing, but we had 5 minutes to eat it.
Yeah.
It was $750 USD.
Just for the steak.
Just for the steak, and we had 5 minutes to eat it. But what we did was the girls had to get the tickets from the ticket tech, the ticket box.
Yeah.
So we sent them early, and so we had to smash the steak, and we also got the cheapest bottle of wine because we were like, okay, the steak's so expensive, so we'll get the super cheap bottle of wine. Anyway, so they've left. We're smashing this steak, and then we're like, okay, the girls are like, hurry up, the show's about to start, and they lock the doors, and you can't get into intermission. So we're like, fuck.
God, I hate
so
that.
so they're in a cab. That cab gets into a car accident. So that cab gets a small. No one was in. Oh, no, I think one of the girls had like a bleeding nose.
Oh my God.
So that car, their cab gets into a car accident. We're running because we couldn't get in cab. No cabs would stop for us because that was so busy. So we're running. I'm wearing like the worst shoes ever. My feet are bleeding. Everything's cold and seizing up. I've got $500 5-minute steak. Ralph Lauren. I'm like, thank you, Ralph. I appreciate this.
All the iron.
Plus the cheap red wine, and I'm sweating. I get really bad meat sweats. You know how much I get really bad
Meat sweats?
Yeah, that's an
It's
Aussie
probably your
term.
body telling you.
I'm sweaty now. I haven't
eat
even
it.
had any yet.
Yeah.
And so like we're sweating, feet are bleeding. They're in a car accident. We get to the ticket box, and we go, hey, like the show's about to start in like 30 seconds. Can we have our tickets? Sorry, sir, your tickets aren't for tonight. And I'm like, yeah.
My
I was like, and
God,
then
was it the next night?
It was the next night. But
Were you staying?
Well, no, we were leaving. We were leaving the next night. So here's the thing. Meg, who never gets angry, she never screams, but then she was in a car accident. Her whole body was seized up. She gets up to the ticket, and she's only little, right?
Yeah.
She gets up, she slams her hands on the ticket box, and she goes, "We are seeing this show tonight."
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, but they're for tomorrow night." She goes, I don't care. We are seeing the show tonight. She's like, my boyfriend's feet are bleeding. We have rushed this state. The ticket lady's like, what are you talking about,
she
crazy
doesn't
woman?
care.
Anyway, so she slides. She's like, okay, slides the little, they got like the security plastic glass thing. She's like, okay, and she gave us the tickets for that night.
Yeah.
We go, okay, great. We get to walk. We're like walking into the thing. Doors closed. The show started. We were too late. We go, fuck. Anyway, so once again, we're like, no, open the door.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, so we get in the door. Anyway, we eventually sit down. It's already started. We're like in the back. The first 25 minutes, we're all like in tears because Meg couldn't sit down because her body was so seized up for how cold it was, and she was in a car accident.
Yeah, you start vomiting the steak.
I feel sick the whole time. We end up leaving before it's finished because we're so fucked up.
Yeah.
And it was so gross. And then we left the next day, and we got an email going, how they send you like the warning email? Like the next day we're on a plane, we're like, well, that was
The
fucked
warning
last
that
night.
your tickets are coming up.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, just so you know, Book of Mormon is tonight at 7 o'clock. We're like,
Fuck
fuck off,
yeah.
Book of Mormon.
That's a good shit show story.
Yeah,
That's one for the books. No one got hurt though.
no one got hurt.
The car
No,
accident.
stomach was sore, but that was
$700 steak though.
like it was a good steak for
Yeah.
eating it in 5 minutes, but
No steaks worth $750
No.
US.
Paul Ralph Lauren's personal.
I mean, they flew to get this cow.
Cow,
flew
yeah.
back
we are
on
never
Friday.
allowed back in there, by the way, because I'm trying to get them to rush this expensive
Yeah, exactly.
steak.
They're like, get out of here.
Moral of the story,
Okay.
check how much a steak
Those
costs.
were great shit show stories. What is, because I know you guys have like a whole life to live that isn't on the show, and you probably have to go at some point. So what is your?
What is the time?
What is the time?
Yeah, Jesus.
What is your slang words? I just need two.
I've got a slang phrase for you.
Okay, tell me.
So this is, Jimmy knows this because my dad uses it all the time. So my dad works on Sydney Harbour,
Yep.
where it gets very windy and all that kind of stuff. So he often says, I go, Dad, how's the weather? And he's like a big Aussie ocker bloke.
Yeah.
So he'll answer the phone and he'll be like,
Yeah.
and I go, Dad, how is it? And he goes, mate, it's bloody blowing dogs off chains out here. Meaning that it's windy. It's so windy, it's blowing dogs
Like
off
fucking
chains.
just say windy.
Yeah, just say windy,
Just
mate.
say it's windy.
It's bloody blowing dogs off
Yeah.
chains, mate.
Someone said the other day, they're like, go fuck a spider. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Go fuck a spider. Okay, one more.
I said it earlier. Can we say cunt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
it.
not. That's it.
But
That's
no,
actually it, yeah.
So when I was
the way we use it.
when I was living in America at University of Alabama, there was a guy in my class, one of my classes, and he's from California. He was there on a tennis scholarship.
Yeah.
And after class, when he grabbed me, he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Can I ask you something?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You a surfer?" And I was like, "Oh, not really." And he's like, "Oh, I watch a lot of surf documentaries." And he's like, "You guys use the C word as like, like your friends, like, what's up?" And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, so it's not bad? I'm like, well, it is. It can be bad. But I was like, it can also be endearing if it's someone you know. And he's like, so like if you saw your friend, you'd be like, oh, what's up, cunt?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, you could. Anyway, it was like a couple of days later, I saw him on like the main like quad, and I'm probably like 500 like meters. Like I'm not anywhere near close to this bloke. And University of Alabama has like 500,000 students. Like it's a fucking massive university. So there would have been like 1,000 people out in this grass between me and him. And just at the top of his lungs, he just yells out to me. He's like, "What's up, cunt?"
Yeah. And did everyone go?
Everyone was like,
you can't say that. If you said that word in America,
people were standing up going, "You can't say it." Like it just chaos ensued, and I was just like, yeah, no, maybe not here.
Yeah,
But I love the C word. I use it way
Someone
too
said
much.
it to me twice, and I honestly don't know if I can be their friend anymore.
In a
what was
bad
the
way or a
context, though?
context or a good way.
I mean, it was kind of like, I don't even think I can say the word.
Give us
Say
a
it,
sentence.
say it.
I don't think I
Say
can.
it. Do it.
Say it.
See you next Tuesday, mate.
No, say it. Just
I
little
just
one.
say it.
Just
Say
go.
it.
Say it. Say it, cunt.
I didn't say
You
I said
did.
pun.
No,
I
you
didn't
Can we
say
enhance
it.
that?
Yeah,
No,
I can bring that
didn't say it. There was
right
no
now.
T on it.
Well, go. Give me a T.
She said to me, oh yeah.
Did you say it?
No, I said
She
cunt.
said it before. That's good. This is what Daily Mail.
She
Haven't
said-
something.
I
No,
heard her say
no,
it.
I didn't.
She was on the phone to
No.
her husband, and
No.
she
I
said,
think she called
"Listen
me-
here, cunt."
Mate,
Yeah,
when I rocked
no.
up, she goes, "We bought a fucking house, cunt."
Yeah.
I think she called me a cunt before.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
she
we're
did.
just
Channel
throwing it
producer
around.
cunt,
Thank
yeah.
God
Oh,
the
yeah.
demographic of this show
She's
is
like, "Where is
Australian.
Dylan the cunt? We were supposed to have started earlier."
If this was an American show, like made for America, I'd be cancelled.
Yeah.
Be done.
Well, we don't want to have any American. No, we have a like a joke
Oh,
segment
yeah,
on our
this is-
show.
it's got
And
like-
someone called up the other day, and they were like, "What do you call? What is it? What do you call
What do you call
a smart person?"
What do you call smart people? I'm looking at our producer outside. Smart people in America? Yeah. What do you call smart people in America? Tourists.
Oh, I get it.
And
That
like our
has 7
comments are just
million
like,
views.
"We protect the world's freedom." We're like,
Yeah.
it's just like,
They go,
they're
bang, bang,
still
bang,
every
bang,
day.
bang.
I open it up, and people are just back and forward, back and
I
forth.
just reposted something because I'm really trying to help the whole gun reform thing in Nashville. And so the Louisiana is the 24th state to be permitless carry. So you don't need a permit, you don't need a background check, and you don't need to learn how to shoot the gun. So you literally, so I can go by.
The not learning how to shoot the gun's probably the only good thing about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can go buy an AR-15. I've never even picked up an AR-15. I haven't even picked up a gun. Like, other than maybe acting, there was all these people that helped me sort of learn how to even hold it properly. But I just need my driver's license.
I did it. You remember Vine? Like, and it was
Yeah.
how long was it? Was it 6 seconds? Or was it
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, 6-7 seconds.
I was on Vine when I was in America, and I went to this store. And I don't know, was it a Walmart? And I just remember, like, this is the video. I had a shopping trolley, and I went bread, beer, gun.
Yeah.
I could buy them all like that.
Crazy.
I just
Oh,
had
yeah.
to show the driver's license to get the gun. That was my shopping trolley.
That's
But I will
crazy.
say, because I do live in both places, I will say, and we'll end with this though, is that I do like what you say, coming back to it, that there is in America the possibility that you can have and be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
And that is kind of that pulse that goes through the country, and that's exciting for me. And that's why I live in both, you know?
It is one of the most beautiful things about America, and we always talk about it. There are so many incredible things about Australia.
Oh my gosh,
But one
yes.
thing, I reckon one of the main things we're missing is that.
It's just wanting other people to really succeed.
Partic-
Genuinely.
Yeah.
particularly in the
really want to.
Like
entertainment
really
space.
wanting you to succeed, and because if they succeed, there's a potential that you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that mental.
I wouldn't be sitting here, and I wouldn't have moved to Sydney and met Nath if I didn't. I've got Alabama tattooed on my hand.
Yeah, if it
really,
wasn't that.
like, if I didn't move there and everyone was just
Yeah.
constantly bigging me up, like, I wouldn't be here. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane to me. Like, and it's not. It is. It's entertainment. It's
Yeah.
sports. It's you want to be a doctor. You're going to be the best fucking doctor there is. You
Yeah.
do that.
But
even
it's
Study
never
medicine.
too
You look
old.
at the advertisements. You look at the ads. Like the simple thing, like TV ads are
Yeah.
better in America than they are here because they're pushing each other.
Yeah.
They're pushing each other and go, "Oh, we should do this." Whereas here, we're like, she'll be right, mate.
And I
Chuck
think
that up.
sometimes all we see is the negative stuff because that's what makes the news. But there are some really in Nashville. It's the volunteer state of the world, and I said I've only been there a year and a half, and I have 10 in case of emergencies, and they would all show up.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about that, like, real hard. And obviously Aussies have that too, but it's like they'll drop everything, and I like that. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. I mean,
We
they're two
have
wonderful places.
something for you,
Okay.
Dylan. You're closest to it, but can you see that backpack there? Can you
Yeah,
bring
it's
that over?
next to
Well,
the backpack.
normally backpacks
Oh, just
at the
behind-
airport
just
that are
behind
left
the backpack.
alone. They're like,
the backpack.
It's been ticking.
don't, yeah, exactly. Don't open the backpack.
So we promised you something, right? There's
Oh!
2 different sizes, so it's up to you which one you want.
Oh my god.
But they are official Jimmy
Are
Nath
they
budgie
you?
smugglets. So open it up. I don't
Did
know.
you really spend money on me, guys? That's
Yeah.
the sweetest
yeah.
thing ever.
Yeah, we didn't get them
And
for free.
we have 2 pairs of smuglets. So the other
Oh.
pair
Is for Sean.
is for Scott Tweedy. He's outside.
I
He's
was
your
going to
next
say the
guest.
last thing.
Oh my
so we'll give
god,
it to
I
you.
love this.
the
This
la-
is the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me.
hold
Are you
hold it
gonna
up.
wear it?
Is it? I mean, you need
Like
to,
now, I'm gonna
Yeah,
wear it.
you
I'll,
need
do,
it.
I'll do Scott's interview.
You
with
need
it.
to hold it up.
Is that weird?
Well, the last
Scott,
request.
Scott, she's going to do your interview in Jimmy Nath budgie smugglets.
You're welcome,
Hope that's
mate.
fine.
Yeah, you're
You're welcome,
welcome.
buddy.
Yeah, he's
You're
loving it.
welcome.
Yeah.
You come in.
You're
Oh
welcome.
my god, I'm
Can
so.
we do a crossover episode?
It's actually a
Tweety?
gift for you. This is a gift for
Actually,
you.
the other one's for
Yes.
Tweety, please.
This is for you. Yeah.
If you want
Okay, guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna do the wrap up after you guys. Can I come and hang out with you guys during summer?
you can absolutely hang out as
Like-
long as you're wearing the budgie smugglets. Not a weird sexual thing. We just need branding.
It's not smudging my buglies though.
We don't have it.
What a buglies.
That particular set has been on both our testicles, but I
Yeah.
mean the
Listen, I would not expect anything.
No,
else.
of course, and we do
that
that
is,
for you.
That is what I'm grateful for,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you for coming. I'm gonna
We
miss
love you,
you.
Tara.
Miss you.
Miss you.
Bye.
I mean, we're still here.
No, no.
No, no.